Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, joined as always by my lovely, wonderful co-host Alexander Volz. Say hello.
Guten Tag.
All right, this is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That is a new discography per episode. And today we are talking about
Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk. Oh, before we jump into anything, if you like us, please, for the love of God, subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, fucking tell a friend if you want, or you can not do that. I don't care. I don't know. Whatever. We're going to just get through these fucking plugs because I want to talk about this band. If you would like to hear us talk about a specific artist you like or you don't like, please suggest all that and send all your suggestions. I'm getting all redundant. I'm getting all over the place. If you want to hear us talk about a fucking artist, send that to everyalbumever@gmail.com. And if you want to check out the Kraftwerk playlist that we put together on Spotify, you can do that by clicking the link in the description of wherever you're listening and watching, as well as everyalbumever.com. There's a playlist associated with goddamn every episode that we've done. So you can do that. Or you cannot do that, as always. Okay. We're done with plugs. We're done. Well, I mean, I guess Instagram. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Pope Jesse Ventura and Panda Monkey for music, and Alex at
Mother Puncture. No matter how many times you do plugs, it's like it'll never
be smooth. And it'll never be natural because I fucking hate it. Okay, I hate plugs. But this is a very sad coincidence because at the time of this recording, a Mr. Florian, is it Schneider?
I think it's Schneider.
He just died, and he died during us listening to this. Like, this was a complete coincidence. We had it planned.
We had it planned for a few weeks ahead. This is a total coincidence.
Yeah, we wanted episode 40. This is episode 40, by the way, to be a big one with a big band that we like and respect and are curious about. Kraftwerk was scheduled for episode 40 for a long time. He just died like a week ago as of the recording. By the time this comes out, it'll be a little bit later, but fucking bummer. However, no new albums. We won't have to update that. That's pretty mean. I mean, but it's true. It's like a thing that we actually were worried that they were going to release an album soon. That's fucking sad that they can't now, or I guess they can. Who knows what's been recorded?
They have recorded and whatnot.
Yeah, who knows? But it's also a perfect time to reflect on this massive band, big discography, long career, longer than I even realized.
Yeah, they've never even broken up. Like, they just kept
touring,
kept on shuggling.
There's a big gap between their penultimate and last albums, but aside from that, pretty consistent. Let's see. Kraftwerk is just like the image that you're probably going to see if you're watching the video or you see me post on Instagram. There is a very iconic them in the fucking red button downs with the black ties. It's the most iconic electronic German fucking thing in the world. It's the most German thing. They're more culturally important than I think like people realize musically.
They're so important. Like, unlike other bands that are influential, you maybe can't hear their influence anymore. Mm-hmm. But with Kraftwerk, it's in everything. It's so many bands we've covered. You wouldn't have Devo, you wouldn't have Joy Division, and even going as far as modern pop music. Oh, and then hip hop too.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy the reach Kraftwerk has on all musical genres to this day, which is not something a lot of bands can say.
It's double mind-blowing when you listen to them, because holy shit is a lot of this dated as fuck. It's like the most embryonic of all electronic music, obviously, because it's the beginning of it. It's the very first instances of it. And it's you listen to this and you would think like, this sounds fucking nothing like all the things I'm listening to. But man, evolution starts somewhere. It's got to start somewhere. And
even as recently as like 2009, I'm getting a little ahead, but like Coldplay sampled one of their songs because the melodies are that good that you can trick normal people into listening to it if you rework it.
It's true. Musically, it's funny because I'm going to be using my hot button words in this entire episode are going to be minimal and I think orchestral, maybe, which is like they're almost opposites of each other because it's hard to pick apart how musically intricate they've always been because of how much it can fall in the background as just spacey electronic computer sounds. But they are real goddamn musical. If you can get over the beep boops and laser sounds, because there's going to be a lot of that.
I love the beep boops and laser sounds.
I do too. But that is not I would say that is not going to be everyone.
It's pretty insane how successful they were too.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get into the timeline of it. And the fact that they until for most of their career could play big arenas is mind-boggling.
I don't understand. And I say that as a fan, I don't get it. I don't get how they were successful. Even back then, like when it was really uncommon and like a new thing to be playing these synthesizers and all these, well, they didn't just do synthesizers, but they did a lot of robot sounds. Even back then when it was a new novel thing, how could you be into that? Like, how could you be in? I don't understand.
It doesn't make sense that it's commercially viable at any point in time.
Any point. That's one thing I've gotten in arguments with people, mostly ex-girlfriends, over Kraftwerk because like I've only heard a few albums, but I like the albums that I heard, and I would put them on. And of course, people would be like, "What the fuck is this? What? Why?" And we get in fights. Like, no, you got to look past it. Listen to the music, and they would say, "No, you're an idiot for listening." You know what? You move on, and you cut those people out of your life because Kraftwerk is the fucking shit.
I mean, like two Coachella headlinings, bro. You're wrong.
Is that true?
You're wrong. Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. Holy fuck!
They rock shit, man. They have a big fan base.
Goddamn right they do. Okay, so aside from the iconic image of the robots in the red shirts, what are they? Who are they? I know they're German. Oh, wait, are they Austrian? I don't know.
German.
Okay, so start, please.
So Florian Schneider met Ralf Hutter at a music school in the late 60s. They were in a band called Organization, and then that kind of evolved into Kraftwerk. And we'll get into the evolution of Kraftwerk because they did not start out as what we know and think of.
Mm-hmm. Not even close.
I would say outside of the genres too, just the musical instruments and electronical instruments they invented. I believe they were one of the first people to have a patent on an electronic drum set.
Really?
Too.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, the amount of stuff they've done for like electronic drum kits, synthesizers, vocoders it's insane. Absolutely. Not only were they never content making normal music, they were not content having normal instruments to perform them on.
That's awesome. And it's not just electronic stuff. Like you can see in early photos, they used live instruments all the fucking time.
Also to those people who will say like, "Oh, drum machines have no soul," or they write off electronic music. I remember a great quote Dave Grohl said about Trent Reznor is he'd be great without electronics. Electronics has helped him bring his vision to life, and
just another instrument. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same with Kraftwerk.
My argument in that whole Drum Machines Have No Soul bullshit is Greg Saunier from Deerhoof, who frequently uses everything that he can hit, basically. And
he is the most soulful.
He's the best. But also, I'm not a huge, I'm like popping the fucking mic too. I'm not a huge Deerhoof fan. Like I respect them and love like a few albums. But like, I think it's Deerhoof is a band that I like out from it. My love for them depends on the album. And my favorite album is Breakup Song. And on that whole album, he's using electronic drum kit. So
nice.
I fucking love it. I think it's cool. And I think it all depends. Yeah, it's all about it's just a tool. Instruments are a tool. It doesn't matter if you plug them in or not. It's just a fucking tool.
Exactly.
I swear I was going to say something, but I keep forgetting. So please take over.
Also, the first 3 albums we're going to be talking about, they're reluctant to include that as canon.
I can tell.
They've been out of print forever and a day, although the silver lining to Florian dying is that maybe these will get proper remasters and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm. I remember what I was going to say now. So Kraftwerk is considered like, I've heard this a few places, but not common enough to know if it's fact or if it's consensus. They're part of the big 3 of early electronic music, and it's them, YMO, Yellow Magic Orchestra from Japan, and Telex from I think Belgium. And the way it goes usually, from what I've heard, is like people hold YMO at the top, then Kraftwerk, then Telex. And I love Kraftwerk. I think I agree with that order though. Like I want to do Yellow Magic Orchestra soon, and I want to do Telex. Like these are all 3 big important bands. They're real good.
I haven't listened to the other 2, so I will not throw my 2 cents in because I can't. But on top of that, they're the big 3 of Krautrock too.
Oddly enough, yeah.
So yeah, you have Kraftwerk, Neu, and Can, and I'm not going to put them in any kind of order, but also going back, looking what bands we've been talking about, I feel like we've subliminally have been building up to this because we were talking about a lot of Krautrock on Joy Division.
Yeah.
ISIS is kind of Krautrocky the way they build their songs.
Loud building.
So
long songs.
Yeah. So I feel like we had it on the schedule, but it was like unconsciously working its way into our psyche. So I feel really relieved to be talking about this.
So Kraftwerk obviously very known for pioneering electronic music, but they did, like you just said, started out, they were Krautrock. And if anybody who doesn't know Krautrock, bands like you said, Neu, Can, Amandul, fucking, I don't know. There's a bunch. They're all from Europe and Germany and stuff. Hence the name Krautrock. So, okay, to describe Krautrock, rhythm heavy, repetitive, experimental, long songs.
Usually we'll build to a crescendo and then let you back down. Yeah,
there's like a lot of jazziness in it. Like it has the spirit of jazz, but a lot crazier. It's a weird genre that doesn't get talked about too much, and it's super early. It's like early 70s, like that's when or late 60s is kind of when it started. But it seems way more modern than that. Like Krautrock always felt like it was like an 80s genre, but
I think that has to do with Kraftwerk and Neu, which the members were in Kraftwerk. So I think that has to do with them being from Germany, and they've talked about how, you know, growing up in a post-World War II Germany, you don't really have culture.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck. That's so dark.
Yeah, it is. And that's part of why it's cold and machine sounding. So it's like you have polka music, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So there was very much this drive in those musicians to create their own things, which I wouldn't have thought about if I didn't run across those interviews.
So Kraftwerk, during their existence, they released 10 albums. 10 albums. This is going to be a beefy fucking episode. 10 albums. The first 3, like we mentioned, they're not available streaming, so we're going to pull these up from YouTube pretty much. First album was released in 1970. The last one was in 2003. So these guys are these are seasoned vets. All right, so we are going to start. This is self-titled Kraftwerk, 1970. So, early synthesizers, as we can hear.
I was not prepared for this song.
Oh, really?
But I love it so much.
Yeah,
we talked shit about
flautiness. Oh, but that's not a real flute, though, is it?
It is.
Oh, it is.
It is a flute.
This is krautrock. This is straight krautrock. This sounds like Can. Like those drums?
It's such a good melody too.
Yeah. Also, no, I'll mention it after.
And then this is the album with the members in Neu on it. Michael Rotner and Klaus Dinger.
Mm-hmm. Klaus Dinger. These sound made up. These sound like made up jabs at German names.
A lot of German words sound made up, though.
Okay, so this goes on for about 7 minutes. Or 8 minutes, rather.
There's someone recorded them doing that song live. It slaps so much harder. I love that song.
I can only imagine. It's so rhythmic and drum heavy, and those sound like live drums. I don't know if they are, but
yeah, they are.
It sounds like Can. It sounds it's krautrock. It's awesome. I love it. That's
a distinction I feel like the band made later on, where this is kind of rooted in psychedelia.
Yeah, for sure.
But later on, they made a very conscious decision that we are not that. So, but
yeah, we are the robots.
Yes, I think this is a great album. I don't understand why it's not,
readily available.
Especially with the guys from Neu being in the band. Like, it's such an important part of
the history of krautrock.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure it is. One thing I will say for these, I'll say 2 things. The first 3 albums, like we already said, that they're hard to find and not streaming. They're all instrumental, and also the first 4 albums, all the names are in the most German. I can. There's no way I'm gonna even try to say the names of these fucking songs. I'm gonna go by track number.
I'm going to stumble through that. So that opening track is called Ruckzuck.
Yeah, that's Ruckzuck. Okay, that one, yeah. Or who knows how it's actually pronounced, but we're going to say it how we see it. Ruckbucks it is. I mean, sorry, Ruckzuck.
if that was streaming, 100% would be on the playlist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And what else? Even Stradivarius, which is the second
That's
track.
a great song, too. Yeah,
even more krautrocky. I think I noted that it would fit really well in a horror movie. Like a lot of that stuff has that.
I wrote that too. It's a horror movie vibe, and I'm not sure what strings they are, but they almost sound Japanese in origin. The string section on that song,
groovy too. I mean, a lot of this is groovy. Krautrock is typically pretty groovy. And
you have megahertz.
Oh yeah, that's like 1,000% ambience.
Yeah, that's more similar to a score than a traditional song.
Like, as cool as this is from a soundscape perspective, very little of it is music. And I can't, obviously music, that's like a harsh way to say that. It's music, obviously, but it's not musical. It is rhythmic. It is sounds happening all over the place. Ambience, creepiness. it's super fucking specific and like it just like Kraftwerk, I guess. Like it's hard to say anyone but experimental music nerds would enjoy this. This is not an easy record.
I really enjoyed it. So I wasn't even thinking about, is this an easy album to listen
it's
to?
Because you're a fucking music nerd. Like that's why I'm saying like this is not a layperson's album. Fuck no.
I would definitely say if you like instrumental, if you like psychedelic stuff, if you like weird stuff, definitely check this out though.
And here's my counter argument is that this is like not definitive, but it's a very decent example of krautrock. But if you're trying to try out krautrock and give it a shot, don't start here. Like there's Can albums that will fucking convince you. I
agree. Yeah. Can's probably a stronger starting point.
They're also more musical. So this is like already when you're in the rabbit hole and you want to hear some crazy shit.
Von Himmelhoch.
Yeah. That's track. That's the closing track.
I really like it. It builds.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sounds on these albums. I have no idea where they're coming from. So I apologize for the vagueness, but there's some electronic instrument on there. It sounds like a cat almost. It's like wow.
There's a lot of good shit happening on that one, yeah, for sure.
And then towards the end it sounds like something that would be on the Beastie Boys mix-up album. So it's awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know what, you're right. Yeah, I mean, except that's less ironically less surprising because this was like during the time period where that music was fucking on the radio, you know, that type of loungy jazz. And you hear a lot of that throughout later albums too. Like clearly these dudes are like trained, or Florian and Ralf were trained musicians that just happened to play a bunch of shit that was just invented. So it sounds nothing like anything else, but I don't know, as the albums go on, you kind of hear the foundation, and I'll elaborate more when they come up. But interesting album, their most krautrock album, I would say.
Yes,
one of the best, if not the best, in terms of the rhythm section. I think this is their best rhythm section in all their entire discography.
And it went away.
It went away.
Got it
quickly. Yeah,
you got it. The one album.
Yeah, and it's hard to find. So YouTube it. Fucking Jesus. All right, we're gonna move on. Second album with fucking almost identical cover. It's just the cover of the first one is a traffic cone, or orange and white striped, and then the second album it's a traffic cone, but this time it's green and white striped. This is
that's also very similar to Noi. They have the same thing where all their album covers look the same. They're this slightly different.
So annoying. I hate that. I hate that so much. But this is brilliantly titled Kraftwerk 2, 1972. And that's an ad because I have to listen on fucking YouTube. So we're going to talk over. Never mind. There it is.
Pretend that didn't happen.
Jesus Christ. I hate ads. Also, why are you making money off this album? Okay, here we go. Well, I don't want to cut anything off, but this is not a song.
Das Kling Klang?
It's called Kling Klang, and it's exactly what it fucking is. And guess how long it is, everybody? It's 17 fucking minutes.
Yeah, it is. They would go on to name their studio that they made all their albums in called Kling Klang.
Really? They were that proud of this fucking garbage.
Yeah. Uses a preset organ beatbox.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Like I said, there's so many crazy instruments and sounds.
Yeah.
But
okay, I'm gonna fast forward this same track about, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe, and see what the fuck happens.
Yeah, because it does turn into a pretty standard krautrock song eventually.
Okay, this is same track.
It's more.
Go on. Sorry.
it's a little more laid back and breezy than some of the more intense stuff, but
this is the same track 8 minutes in.
there we go.
Yeah. 8 minutes in. I was complaining, or not complaining, but I was laughing about ISIS taking 5-6 minutes to get a song going. We're 8 minutes in, and we got 9 more to go.
And this isn't even like much. It sounds like video game menu music.
Absolutely, and why it's why it's the worst album. And
oh wow,
Jesus Christ, dude. And it's not like this one. I was surprised at how easy it was to pick a worst. Like the rest of them, like while there was stuff I found I didn't like that much, this one was like I don't even realize I'm listening to it. There's fucking nothing happening, and it's so minimal. It's so experimental, and like that. 8 minutes to get to a fucking background music in a menu in a video game. Like, I think, man, I'm gonna try it. Wellenlange is it's like the closest thing to a song, in I guess structurally, but out of the whole album, the only thing I actually really like is Harmonica, which is the last track. I think it's the last track.
I feel like Harmonica and Splau 4 are like ambient experimental westerns. There's some western elements to them. I do enjoy Storm. I think Storm is solid. To me, it has
actual guitars on there. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
I was going to say the guitar sound on there does not sound like 1970s guitar. It sounds more like indie rock, and it's pretty wild. But that so they have a lot of songs that sound like they could be in horror movies for some reason,
especially early on.
And Storm is one of them. But I do agree there is like a lot of ambient white noise stuff going on here.
Yeah,
but
it's like I guess it's interesting from an experimental point because what else can you find at this time period that sounds like this?
Nothing.
But I found damn near nothing to enjoy except for Harmonica, which actually definitely strikes a chord in me. Like it's this weird melancholy, really. I don't know. I can't. It's hard to find words for it, so I'm just gonna fucking put it on. This is Harmonica.
In Kraftwerk too, where they have 2 songs, but they're really more one song. That's how I feel about this and Splau 4.
Yeah, it's not really. Also, I fucked up when I accidentally stopped the audio, but it's recording again. So if audio listeners hear like a cut, that's because I pressed the wrong fucking key on my keyboard because I'm an idiot. But anyway, this is barely a song. It's not really a song. It's just this. But I think this is very nice. Yeah,
and it's pleasant though.
It's pleasant. It's I can't call it sad, but it is melancholy for sure. I did like that a lot. I wish that was streaming for sure.
To point out tracks that if you're like Mike, you'd probably hate. There's Anthem, and that's this someone breathing. It's not even music. It's just someone breathing. So
it's funny you say that because someone breathing is a lot of their sound. As albums go on, they like the sound of people breathing heavily into. It's fucking creepy. I don't mean scary creepy. I mean rapey creepy. Like it's fucking yeah. But I still think this is the worst. This is the hardest to convince anybody to listen to. Like I can't. Like even Harmonica, which I feel kind of strikes a chord in me. Even that, I don't know who this is for.
Probably me.
Okay, so Alex likes it. You fucking maniac. But it is definitely my worst. And we are going to move on to. I'm glad we're rushing through these ones because it's really hard to do the YouTube shit. Like it's.
We got a lot to cover too. So. Yeah.
These are the ones that no one talks about too. So maybe we should be kind of dwelling on them a tad bit, but who gives a shit? We're going to move on. I was listening to 3 different versions of this next album because I was trying to find timestamps of when the songs start. And apparently that's fucking hard to do, or people don't do it on these versions. So this is 1973, Ralf und Florian.
This is the first movie or the album they made at Kling Kling.
Oh, okay. It's also the first to sound more like Kraftwerk. I almost said Kraftwerk.
Yes, this is more of a growing album than a good album, in my opinion.
Still think it's better than the last one. A lot better than the last one. This is fucking music, at least. However, I sound like a liar because nothing started yet. Yeah, this definitely sounds like Kraftwerk. Also, if anybody's curious, the cover for this album is hilarious and weird.
They're just nerds.
They're just fucking... It's a black and white photo of Ralf and Florian, and they're nerds. They're just these 2 dudes dressed nice, smiling. It's almost like a parody.
Which, again, was consciously done on their part to stand out from the more
Wild,
hippie-looking bands like Can.
Worked. Okay, so this is go on.
So this is my worst, which I had
Really?
a hard time. I had a hard time, unlike you, I had a hard time deciding what was worse. Also, this will be the rare podcast where I also have a least favorite as well too.
Interesting. Really worse? I didn't think so at all. This is kind of cool. I liked it.
In the scheme of things, when it was all said and done, and it may change with time, but as of right now, I think this is one of the few I would not be inclined to revisit.
Okay, fair enough. Because even that opening track, it's real interesting. It's real interesting. It has legit melodies, crazy, sporadic, ridiculous arrangements. So
is that Cristallo?
That is that's fuck, man. I didn't even
whatever. It's not
Electricious Roulette or fucking goddamn.
Okay, yeah.
I literally didn't write any names because I'm not gonna butcher these, even though I just butchered one.
Oh, I'll butcher them.
All right, we're doing it. We're doing it.
So there's a song called Cristallo.
Actually, I did write down. I wrote down the translations actually to make it easier for myself. But go on.
I really like the backing music on that, but the keyboard feels off, but it's still good to me.
Mm.
Like the keyboard soloing just feels slightly like a beat ahead or a beat behind. It's just weird. It's so weird. Also, somehow this album was inspired by the Stooges and MC5, so whatever.
Really? Oh, yeah. I picked that one up immediately. Absolutely. What the fuck?
But
all right.
Yes, this is an important album because this is when they fell in love with the synths, the mini moogs, the vocorders. They were messing around with it, but this was the album where it's like, here on out, that's what we are all about.
Yeah, it's certainly not surprising. Track 2, which is translated to Mountain of Sound, but here it looks like it says Tongueburge. That's not what it's pronounced, but I'm going to call it Tongueburge. It sounds like electronic impressionist music, and it's like, using some adjectives, it's like floaty and like flute-like, dreamy. But impressionist, I'm going to talk a little bit more about like music history stuff in this episode because clearly they are inspired by some old shit. Impressionist, we know Impressionist art, like the Screamer, like that's what we think of when you hear Impressionist. There was a little bit of Impressionist music, but it was very, it wasn't like established. There wasn't like a million people doing it. And so the ones that we would know is Debussy, which is Clair de Lune. Everyone knows Clair de Lune. And the other big one was Ravel. I don't remember his first name, but yeah, Debussy and Ravel. And people know Clair de Lune because it's fucking amazing and it's everywhere and it's very famous. But they don't talk about Debussy's other stuff. His other stuff was way nerdier. It was way more shit you'd read in like a fantasy novel or fantasy literature where you read about fucking centaurs and butterflies and other bullshit. And it's, you know, very fluty, very, they were actually written with actual descriptions of like almost stories. Like these pieces of music were written along with actual stories. So they were meant to be read while listening to the piece. And it was, like I said, it's super fucking nerdy, but like that's what Impressionist was kind of associated with. Late 1800s, early 1900s. This stuff really fucking reminds me of that, except electronic. So that was a whole diatribe about fucking old people in the past.
That goes back to Germany doesn't really have anything modern for them to pull from. Mm-hmm. So they were most definitely pulling from artists like that.
Yeah, it definitely comes across as that. And then I just went on that whole thing about that. But then fucking dance music or is it the German Tanzmusik or something? Or that one, it's like claps and bells and it's really and it's dance music.
That reminded me, that's Kraftwerk's version of a May Day celebration. That's going to pop up in like midsummer when you're watching that movie. That's what that song reminded me of.
Dude, yeah, it's like overly pleasant shopping music. It's so happy and pretty. Like, I'm glad you said the midsummer thing because it really reminds me of it. It's so happy and pretty, it's almost scary.
If there's women in flower dresses dancing around a maypole, this song will be playing there.
Don't fucking ever show me that movie again. I'm actually going to put on that song just to give an idea. If I can actually do it, because YouTube is a pain in the ass. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. Okay, I think this is it. Yeah, this is dance music or tance music. Some shit like that.
This is you're on hold.
Yeah.
On the
like, if it weren't for those drums, this would absolutely be shopping music, hold music, elevator music.
Music.
Music, yeah.
And another genre they help define is music.
Oh, thanks, Kraftwerk, for that. So this goes on a fucking while. And
yeah, it changes. There's some peaks and valleys.
But the thing is, what I like about it is that, yeah, that's fucking dreadful. That's awful to hear, like, just on its own. But when it goes on for that long and it's just repetitive and it's just so fucking happy, it starts to get creepy. Like, it's just weird side effect. It's not even like, I don't even know if that was the intent, but it definitely gets weird.
So I think one of the worst songs, and why I gave this worse, I really hate On Us Symphonies.
That is the final track?
The last track.
Pineapple Symphony? It's what it translates to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it translates to Pineapple Symphony.
It's just really long, and I think it only appeals to hardcore Kraftwerk fans, electronic fans, or ambient music fans. It's not for anybody, really.
Isn't it? It's funny to me that in my brain, the term ambient music fan is a fucking oxymoron. How do you be a fan of nothing?
Yeah, like we went pretty hard on that Cocktail Twins, ambient album for good reason.
The Moon of the Melodies. The one they did
was that the collaboration one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that album fucking sucks. Sorry. Episode 25, I believe. Yeah, that one. Yeah, this track, it's not even it's 13 minutes long, yeah, but it's not their long ass. Like last album, it was a fucking 17-minute boring fest. That the reason why I gave that one worse. It's so pretty and minimal, but it's fucking boring. It doesn't even do it for me as background music. Like I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's too minimal. It's too fucking minimal. But I do like on this album how they're already introducing their abilities as well as knowledge of some really cool music from the late 19th century that people don't talk about very much, unless you're like a fucking music nerd scholar, which I don't know. I'm not one of those people.
Which they are, if you couldn't tell by their photos.
They are for sure. They look like professors I actually had in college. But let us move on to the first album we can finally get streaming. I can finally pick tracks.
Canon to them.
And this is following year, 1974, Autobahn. Fuck, I forgot to do this. It starts at 20 seconds in.
This song is one of the most German things you will ever fucking hear.
By a mile.
I hate that it gets stuck in my head too, because it's a weird. Like if you were singing it out loud, people would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
I think that goes for all of Kraftwerk, and I've actually gotten that from people too. Like some of their songs are really catchy.
They're not even lyricists per se.
No.
But they know a catchy hook and a melody.
So this is going to take a minute to start up. And the reason for that is, hi Alex, how long is this song?
Is it 20 minutes? 22 minutes?
It's 22 minutes.
All right.
What the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna stop because it's starting. It's actually starting now.
Oh, we're just laughing at it already.
Oh man, I wish I could read German, like, because I want to sing along to this.
Don't they just say Autobahn a lot?
No, they do, but there's a lot of other words with apostrophes and H's where I don't normally see them. I want to let the vocals kick in, even though we're taking a long time.
I don't even know when that is.
Oh, this is cool. All right. You get the idea. You get the fucking idea. That goes on for 20 fucking minutes. And also, it changes a little bit, but it's long.
I'm really proud of the description I came up for that title track.
What's that?
I wrote, it sounds like Disney's Electric Light Parade, weird German dudes, and an early video game had sex, and this song came out.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty appropriate. It's the most German thing in the world. I would say that song is the most extremely German thing ever.
Around the 9-minute mark, it gets a little sinister, but it's not too long before you're back having fun at the Autobahn.
That's what we're saying that they're saying now, because as far as we know, we don't know that they're not saying that.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
It sounds like we're having fun at the Autobahn. It is, again, not quite as creepy as like the one from the last album, where it goes on for so long that it starts to trick you into it feeling kind of weird. This is just so poppy and so pretty, and like this is weirdly catchy. And what the hell? Why is it going on for so long? It's just odd.
if people couldn't tell, this is a concept album about the Autobahn.
What the fuck's an Autobahn?
That is a highway that the Nazis built, and you can go up to speeds of 120, I believe.
Oh, don't fucking do that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Actually, you know what? That sounds familiar, and I'm glad you said that because it just jogged my memory. I think it was David Letterman who was talking about, I don't know if it was the Autobahn, but it definitely in Germany. He said he was driving like 90 or 100, like going fucking crazy fast.
And he was slow.
Behind him was a minivan with a full family in it, blinking at him to get out of the way so they can zoom past him. He's like, I'm going 100. What? That's amazing and terrifying.
Yes. I didn't even know the Nazis built the Autobahn until I was reading about this album, but they were concerned about, we're from Germany and singing about very German things, about the crossover appeal that they could have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, this goes back to them feeling like they didn't have music of their own to draw inspirations from. So it's like, well, we're just going to make albums that sound like machines or freeways because that's what we have.
Fuck it. We like cars. And to be fair, Germans, get some solid ass cars.
Got some solid cars.
So in case you couldn't tell from us making fun of it and loving the vocals, there's some vocals now. It's only on the opening track though. It's only on the title track. Everything else is kind of, it's still going in the direction of more electronic, more I keep wanting to say krautrock. I need to get that out of my fucking brain. More Kraftwerk as we know them. But what is it called? Oh my God. Track 3, Kometen Melody 2. The second, Kometen Melody 2.
2 awesome. Is where it's at.
Oh.
I was going to talk about it if you weren't. I'm glad we both love part 2 because that song is great.
It's amazing. It's the first of I guess when you're listening to them chronologically, it is the first song. I was like, oh, okay, now I'm on board. This it took 4 albums for me to okay, all right.
That was the first song where it's full blown genius.
Yeah.
To me, at least.
You know what? We're putting it on because it's hard to deny how goddamn catchy this is. Of course, it's going to take 3 fucking years to start. You know what? I'm going to pour some whiskey while this song is playing.
Do it.
This is fucking triumphant as hell.
Yeah, it is. This is when you hit you've come down from the excitement of the trip and now you're ready to hit 120 miles again.
Preferably in a minivan with your family.
Yes. Or one of those stupid they look stupid, those Sprinter vans that are just tall cubes.
Oh yeah. That's such a great hook. It's such a great hook, man. Fucking love it.
Mittenach.
Yeah, the last track, right? No, that's the second to last. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mittenach. I think it's knock. Only because I know that means night.
Mittenach. That again proves that they're the greatest horror movie composers that never composed a horror movie.
It's crazy. Oh,
it
man,
happens
I like that
so much.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
But even on later albums, there's shit where you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a weird theme to keep repeating through their albums.
And yet they have this sort of silly kind of imagery associated with them when really Some of this stuff is brilliant horror soundtrack stuff. The closing track. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let me try this. Morgen Spaziergang or something.
That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. That's a good attempt.
That it sounds like a lot of the Impressionist Debussy stuff I talked about in the last album, but more fully realized. Fucking awesome. I think it's lovely. I actually really like this album a lot.
To me and millions of other people, and I'm only bringing it up because I think it's the best-selling Switch video game of all time. To me, that was some Animal Crossing shit. That sounds
really
like music you would hear in Animal Crossing.
You know, we're putting it on just because I need some reference. I haven't played the new Animal Crossing, by the way. I don't have a Switch.
Yeah, it's not really a mic game. I don't know if you'd enjoy it.
Is it because I can't scream at it and call it names?
Yeah, and it's not frustrating.
That's true. I like frustrating. Of course, we're hearing beeping and booping before any song actually starts.
After the R2-D2 stuff, I promise there's Animal Crossing stuff.
A lot of R2-D2 stuff in this entire discography.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I already see it or hear it. They got the little woodpecker sounds.
Yep.
Water sounds.
I'm assuming this is meant to represent the end of your road trip on the Autobahn when you've reached a relaxing forest destination.
Yeah. Holy shit, I forgot how long this song takes. All right, we're fast forwarding it. This is like 2 minutes in. Okay, same shit. Hold on. Let's do 3 minutes in. No. Okay. It takes a while to start, but this is fucking lovely.
As is the nature of krautrock.
This is so Debussy to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the people who made Animal Crossing really like him.
Yeah, probably. This is fucking awesome. It's not, you're not going to dance to this shit. If you're coming in here looking for, later Kraftwerk, like what they're known for, you're not getting it, but it's still very lovely. And if you like classical music and music of the old timies, with old guys with wigs, fucking, this is pretty damn good. I like it. So let us move on to the following year. Of course, I didn't pull it up because I'm not professional. This is 1975, Radioactivity. Also, before I jump into that, English song titles. Hell yes. No more butchering this fucking beautiful language. All right, here we go.
It's not a beautiful language.
I know, it's awful. It's a jagged language. It's got a lot of sharp edges. Is this playing? Yeah, it's playing.
You might want to skip the first track and let's play the second.
You're right.
Because the first track is supposed to be like a Geiger counter.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's still kind of there in the background.
Yeah.
But now you get
some John Carpenter. Bang, 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 bang.
Also, not like they were the first to do it, but that Pink Floyd song, I'm spacing, but some Syd Barrett Pink Floyd song also has a similar
is it
build-up.
Astronomy Domini?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great fucking song. This is a great song. I think they were at this point, they're officially Kraftwerk. Like, this is, I think, like the first, this is them.
Radioactivity is in the air for you and me. Radioactivity discovered by Madame Curie.
So
activity.
Aside from it being pretty accessible, this song in particular has a regular ass song structure and everything. It's a fucking song. Like that was rare up until this point.
I really like that song, but I think this album is pretty weak.
Really?
I'm surprised you don't hate it because I think there's a lot of ambient white noise stuff.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with if you're building up or leading into something, but to me, it doesn't really lead into anything.
It doesn't. You're right. Yeah, a lot of it leaves you wanting more. But there's some real cool shit on here that I like a lot. Like Airwaves, real upbeat, real catchy.
Yes, it is.
And Om Sweet Om, which is the best song title ever. It's a great song title. I like that one a lot too. It's real pleasant. And even like Radioland, I think it's pretty boring, but some of the vocoder stuff, because they're doing vocoder. For anybody who doesn't know what a vocoder is, it's a fucking makes you sound like a robot or something. It's like a guitar pedal for your voice or something. You sing
Peter Frampton.
Yeah. Well, that's more of a talk box, I think. But I think a talk box counts as a vocoder. You're right. Yeah, it has really cool, interesting harmonized stuff. But the song is long and boring otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that song's weak, and then it's just like all the shit in between. Like, I think news and transmission are back to back. And so it's like you have news, and that's this kind of filler. So you're like, okay, I'm going to get a song after that, but you don't. And then it's frustrating. Despite all that, it doesn't win any like ill merits for me. I'm just not.
It's just yeah. It's not gonna blow your mind. It's not gonna take away everything. But with songs like Radioactivity, it is like, oh, this is what Kraftwerk is known for. This is like the kind of
yes.
Yeah.
To me, there's like 3 songs on here, and then the rest is just
like a Antenna. It's like these sounds and textures that have aged about as well as the Jetsons. It sounds like a futuristic, what people in the 60s would consider the future. That's what those sounds are. It's very silly, very beep, boop, boop, stupid, fucking annoying. And I like it when it's implemented into a song that's well written. Which some of these I think are like, pretty much the 3 Om Sweet Om, Airwaves, and Radioactivity. I think like those you'll probably find on the playlist, and I think that's about it.
That's the rest is just filler to me.
Yeah, there's the highlights, but in between, you're right. But it is important, I think, just for the new implementation of all the vocoders, because it's important to the sound later on.
It's similar to Ralf and Florian to me.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably why I don't hate it as much, because I do get the similarities.
They have these like very obvious growing pain albums, which there's still cool shit on, but they're not, to me, fully fleshed out.
Right. All right. So decent album, not the greatest, but have some highlights. But now we're going to move on to
the big one.
The first big one, because there's a lot of things that's
true.
This is when people start recognizing Kraftwerk. This is 1977, Trans Europe Express. So the untrained Kraftwerk ear would say this sounds exactly the same. But you're wrong.
You're wrong. I love the first half of this album so much.
I love most of this album.
Most of it, yes. Yeah. But if I'm picking favorites.
You're right. So just to give a little bit of disclosure, this song is about 9 minutes. So it's gonna... First of all, you shouldn't be surprised at this point. But also... It gets there.
Also, that's a brisk walk in the park compared to later on.
Yeah. I will get into it. For the love of God, please start, because I like this song, but it's making me look bad. Here we go.
This is
That's a great
Europe
good
Endless,
line.
right?
Yeah, Europe Endless. This.
So again, much like Autobahn, while we're waiting for the song to get there, concept album about the Trans-Europe Express trains. And
What the fuck is interesting about a subway?
when the hi-hats kick in, though,
Oh, here we go.
The way they sound, to me, sounds like a train letting off steam. And that's something that will go through the album, where you have these elements of, oh, it does remind me of an actual train.
Yeah, interesting. I never thought of that. Yeah, this is fucking great. Like, this is lovely. It's aged like shit. All right, these sounds are funny, but listen to that writing, that fucking modularization right there. Good lord. That means
And
I think.
to me, this is, I like the title track for Radioactivity, but to me, with this song, this was like, okay, you've now mastered the long-form krautrock repetitiveness, where it feels like a breeze to listen to now.
Yeah.
Very rarely during the albums now do I think, oh, that was really long.
Yeah.
And
this one is a lot of that for sure.
I hate to be cliche, but it's the best.
Okay, I would say this is a strong contender for best. I understand it.
Also, it was not easy. I went back and forth on a lot of things, but I was just like, man, this is so groundbreaking. I got it.
Okay, it's a great album. It's a fucking awesome album. I understand. I understand it. And the only reason why it wasn't so difficult for me is because I've heard this album a lot of times. I've listened to this album a lot. So it was more of like a refresher at this point. And
we didn't even do our personal experiences with the band like we usually do. This was the only album I heard going into it. I haven't heard anything else.
Really? Yeah, I heard this and two others, or one other, and maybe like bits and pieces all over the place. But I did listen to this one a lot, and it is real fucking good. The first half of this album is phenomenal. And then the title track... Alex, the title track. Alex.
Let's back it up, because let's talk about the Hall of Mirrors and Showroom Dummies. Yeah. I love those songs. They're great, so much. They're spooky.
Yeah.
They're creepy. Hall of Mirrors is kind of nerve-inducing. It has
fucking great.
It has this electronic sound that I can only describe as like it's ticking away at you, almost like a Hans Zimmer soundtrack. And it's this, oh man, it's so good, but it never releases, and I love it. And then you kind of have some anxiety built up from Hall of Mirrors, but then Showroom Dummies is just,
you know, I'm putting on Showroom Dummies.
Great.
I'm putting on,
it's just great without creating anxiety.
Showroom Dummies, it's so good, and if you like this, I think you'll be pleased to know that they elaborate on this style in future albums quite a bit, because like this is a great goddamn track.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I feel like I'm playing a Super Nintendo game.
In the best way, though. Yeah. In the best way.
I love this song.
Also, pretty much every album, I think I have like a video game
reference.
Exposing ourselves.
Also, there's always a level of comedy with those German vocals.
they're so German. It's funny.
This is they started a trend here, I believe, with this one where they'd put out albums in German and English.
Mm-hmm.
So until I pointed out to you guys, almost every album from here on out there's a German release, and then there's the international English release. Obviously, we'll be doing the English ones because that is what is streaming.
Yeah. On here, other notes, way less vocoders. Not that there was like super prominent already, but there's if in terms of singing, he's mostly singing, and like we just said, he's not who's singing? Is it Florian?
I have no idea. I didn't even look into that because they're so weird. It almost like doesn't matter.
I think Florian sings a lot of it though.
Okay, feeding into their like robot identity. To me, it's like it almost doesn't matter which member is doing what.
It kind of does this, but yeah, you're right. Let me just double check. No, it's mostly Ralf. He's doing vocals. So yeah, Ralf is pretty much the main vocal dude. But what was I gonna say about this? Here we go. Yeah, like not the greatest voice, but it works with the style, and like I don't know, something about that really heavy German accent coupled with this really embryonic electronic music. It kind of works. I just like it. I just enjoy it.
For this album, they made a custom sequencer. And so that's why the songs sound more complex than the previous albums, because they were able to do crazier shit. And with that, we can, if you got nothing else to say, we can jump into the epic that is the title track.
Okay, the title track. Well, I don't care for it much.
Oh, see, I think my love of hip hop brought me to this album.
Really?
Because if you don't know the fucking sample from Trans Europe Express, you're not a hip hop fan. It is one of the heaviest, most popular riffs ever in hip hop. And I think producers in rap, when they heard Kraftwerk, they realized, oh, if this is good enough for them to play 15 minutes over and over again, it only makes sense to put in a rap song.
It's actually kind of brilliant. However, I don't think it's good to play it for that long. I disagree entirely. And it's long already, but then it continues into metal on metal, and then it continues into Abzug. This song is one song. This song is 3 songs long.
Yeah. It should maybe be more like a suite. It shouldn't be
exactly.
They shouldn't be listed as different songs because they aren't. But yeah, like metal on metal, this sounds like they're doing construction on the railroad track, and
it's a lot of
that. But man, I don't know.
It works for you. It works for you.
Too attached to that fucking main hook.
I never hated it back when I listened to this album. It was always just weaker than the rest because the rest are so good. And then it wasn't until this time that I realized, like, oh, this is going on for this is half the album. This is pretty much. And it's like when something that is noticeably weaker is going on for most of the album, that is really hard to get, like, to really forgive. And as much as I do enjoy the album as a whole, and I think like the last 2 tracks, Franz Schubert and Europe Endless, which is like it's like another. It's not there's 2 tracks called Europe Endless.
Isn't it this called Endless?
No, you're right. Endless. I just misread it.
It's an easy mistake. I had to double check because they both start with these. It's an easy mistake.
It's not really. It's more of like an outro than an actual track. Franz Schubert uses pieces of Europe Endless. It uses pieces of I'm getting it uses pieces of the title track, but just in a different context. It's more of like a major key context. And hearing that, like the title Franz Schubert is like the most blatant confirmation of their influence, because Franz Schubert, he's I'm gonna go on a bit of more music history tangent, because
please do. That's why you're here.
I only know Franz Schubert because I actually performed one of his pieces for a piano recital in college. But so when people talk about classical music, the layperson, vast majority of people actually, they all think the same shit. Orchestras, symphonies, Mozart, fucking whatever, all things like that. When really classical is not a genre of music, it's an era. And it's an era that only lasted from like 1750 to 1820 or something like that, or maybe give or take a few years. And what people are actually describing is a combination of Baroque music, classical music, romantic music, impressionist music, and even fucking 20th century music in like the early 1900s. So Baroque is Bach. Baroque is like 1650 to 1750. It's harpsichord. It's super fucking complicated. There's polyphonic, melodies all over the place. Bach, he was mostly an organist. So organist played with both hands and both feet. So that's a fucking lot of things happening. It's all over the place. Classical changed it to homophonic, which is we're gonna do a bass line and we're gonna do a melody on top of it. That's Mozart. That's Handel, I think was classical. And at the end of it, you get Beethoven. He was mostly classical, but then Franz Schubert, he is considered like a transitionary. He's the end of classical, beginning of romantic. Romantic is my favorite. It is long, drawn out pieces, elaboration, less rigid structures, more you get like Chopin and stuff like that, where it's way more, we're gonna deviate from structures, we're gonna deviate from scales, we're gonna just play with stuff. It's gonna be really pretty and melancholic. And then Impressionist, I already described, Debussy kind of stuff. 20th century is when shit goes all over the place. That's where you get Wagner and you get fucking what's his fucking name? Schoenberg, like the ugly, hideous, ridiculous, hilarious experimental, where it's just like, this is a joke, right? This is a fucking joke. It's not pleasant to listen to. But all that stuff gets lumped in with classical. It is not. And now I am done with my. I mean, because it was like it's not a thing that's obvious. Like I had to be taught that.
Sure.
Yeah, no one knows that.
Like I don't know that shit. That's why I don't chime in. What I did find funny about that right now is I don't even think you talked about this much classical music on Electric Light Orchestra.
No way.
Where it would have been equally as appropriate, but it's the weird electronic German band that brings it out of you. So
it's hell
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Dude. You could hear it more. I hear it more on here than anybody we've covered. Like just the influence is so prominent. Just because they're using synthesizer doesn't mean it's not all over the place. So I think it's great. And also this album, it's got real strong motifs. Motif is a musical idea. It means like it can have like one melody or one sort of progression, and then it keeps coming back. Different context, but it keeps coming back. This is very much like a soundtrack to a movie. This is very much like where concept albums these days, it's usually thematic, and it has nothing to do with the music, really. It's more of like this is the theme, and we're gonna have little things come up here and there that revolve around the theme. But musically, these are all different songs. This is what I feel a real concept album is when it's a few musical ideas elaborated and returned to back and forth. I really like it.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh,
sorry, I took over for a second.
So depending on which version of the album you have, they look even more like nerds.
Yeah.
And the BBC documentary I was watching made, I forget who it was, but someone in there made the point of they made the decision to dress like businessmen because they don't want to look like musicians. so you can't tell they're musicians. The only thing that gives it away is, I forget who it is. Someone's wearing a musical note pin, and that's the only indication.
Dead giveaway.
Like, if you just that if you saw this picture, that anyone would ever guess that they're musicians. So
it's hilarious though. If you look, I think it's the original cover where it's a black and white photo of them. The version you'll find streaming is like an illustration of like a subway, but the original, I think it's hysterical. It looks like a promo for like an old variety show, or it's a black and white.
Or like a photo studio,
like a family portrait kind of thing.
Like if you have 5 brothers and your mom wants a nice picture of you all, and you have to go.
Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like. It's hilarious. But Alex is best. I understand it, but I don't enjoy the title track enough for me to give it best.
There's just too much attached to it for me to.
I get it, and it's widely considered the best by a lot of people. The reason why because I'm not going to let my personal bias of the song get in the way. The reason why I can't give it best is because I would have trouble recommending newcomers.
I mean, there's like 2 more albums that you can give best to, and I'm not I wouldn't be angry. I understand the other 2 and the argument for them being the best as well.
This is, of the 3 big contenders, this is the most, I don't want to say experimental, but the most like all those old types of music I explained. It's the least pop, I would say. The least pop out of all of them. So for that alone, I think it's real cool. But let us move on. This is a hefty episode, and I think I'm glad because
I feel like we're moving at a good pace, though.
If you say so. We're at an hour 15.
All right, never mind. We got okay. Next album, then.
Here we go.
Album,
1978, The Man Machine. Oh, it's funny how you said you had those attachments to that one. I have that attachment to this song.
I feel like after doing this, though, that I'm definitely gonna this is in regular rotation now from here on out.
Absolutely.
So good.
Listen, y'all, if you're turned off by this, fucking get over the sounds. This is a great song. Just get over the sounds, please. I'm begging you.
Or fucking just embrace the sound. Because I feel like there's pop music and hip hop music that fucking sounds like this. Maybe not anything specifically off the top of my head, but I feel like Bruno Mars could take this and turn it into a number 1.
Sorry.
I'm not talking about how you feel about the man's music, but he could turn it into a number 1 hit song.
For sure. Vocoders are back with a vengeance.
Hell yeah.
That's such a brilliant key change. Oh.
I wrote that this would be like their most pop-friendly song, but it's fucking 6 minutes.
It's funny how it's that long. Shocking no one. Best personal favorite. I adore this album.
You see, I don't blame you. I get it.
Yeah, I really love this album, and this is the first one. It might have been the first. I don't think it was the first one I heard. Doesn't matter. And I put this on, and I was like, I remember that song as a kid. I remember the robots because it was a recurring joke for me as a kid. I saw the music video. There's a fucking music video, everybody, and you all need to watch the music video for robots.
Hell yeah.
It is unreal. No words can do it justice. It's fucking hilarious. It's amazing. And it was always like the song itself, like I couldn't take any of it seriously because of how ridiculous I was a kid, and it was ridiculous. It was clearly dated. But when I heard this album again as an adult, I was like, oh, this song takes me back. And it's still a decent song. It's very funny. And then the rest of the album comes on. And every fucking song is absolutely killer. It's incredible.
this is a great album. I'm just going to get it out of the way. The only song I don't care for
Neon Lights.
is the model. I love everything else on this album, but something about that song. I know a lot of people love it, though. I'm the crazy one here. So.
You're not crazy, but I blew my load saying Neon Lights because I think that's the weakest one.
Oh, really? I like Neon. To me, like, I really like the first 3 tracks, but there's something about like Neon Lights, this like cements that. Yeah, something about that song. You're like, this is real fucking good, and then that song comes on. You're like, done. It's a good song. This is amazing.
The only reason why I think it's the weakest is because the second half of it goes like a bit jammy, like jammy for Kraftwerk, I guess standards. But the model, okay, that is. I feel like everyone should. I'm gonna put on just the first few seconds because it's like immediately recognizable. This has to be
the music.
This has to be worldwide now.
Yeah, the music is obviously great, but it's the singing on it.
You don't like the singing? I mean, it's super German.
I don't.
She's a model and she's looking good.
I don't know.
It's not great, I guess.
It rubs me the wrong way.
Okay, I will say. I mean, I love the model. I've also heard that, you know, a lot of people don't care for it. I do actually think Big Black's cover of it is far superior.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
You haven't heard it?
No, I haven't.
It's on their last album, Songs About Fucking. Or actually, I think in the newer version, like the re-release of Songs About Fucking, it's on there. It was originally a single along with He's a Whore from Cheap Trick. They also covered that song, but their cover of the model is phenomenal. It's as noisy and crazy as Big Black is, but with those great fucking melodies.
Nice.
I think it's absolutely incredible. I still love this song a lot, and I actually heard Big Black's version first, which is why I guess I have that bias.
Sure. Backtracking a little bit while we're talking about cover songs, I forget if it was Florian or Ralf. Susie and the Banshees, I believe they covered Hall of Mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget which one of the two, but they're like, it's so much better than our version. I'm like, whoa.
Really?
Like, we haven't really talked about it, but these dudes are recluses. Like,
really? The pioneers of electronic music that are also from Germany, they're recluses, really?
Like, in their studio, they cut out the ringer on the phone because they didn't like to be bothered. So if you called, you wouldn't get any sound. It was just there. You're like, did I finish dialing it? Is it right? And so what they would do is they would tell you to call at a specific time, and they would answer at the specific time. And if you weren't there, you weren't there.
That's psychotic.
They fucking make interviewers interview robots and dummy versions of them. It's psychotic, but it's also brilliant because they don't take part in this zoo that is, you know, the press and the media.
They are now my favorite band of all time because if you just said that phone shit is insane. The making the press interview dummies, that's just hilarious. That's awesome. I am totally in favor of fucking up an interviewer's time. I think it's very funny.
And despite all that, they were managed to like stay popular. It's fucking insane. Career suicide for other people.
What an anomaly of a band, man. But to go back to the album a little bit, there's something to say about every song. It's first of all, it's a really short album. It's really short. It goes by it's like 35 minutes. And it goes by very fucking fast. And there's only a handful of songs, like 6 songs. Yeah, six songs. But each one is absolutely amazing. I don't even know what like there is to say. They're all just so good. They're all very catchy. I don't know what exactly. You know what? I'm gonna put on the. Go on.
If we're gonna talk about specific songs, I really like Space Lab, and it was during that song that it just occurred to me. This is the first time they're indulging in sci-fi concepts and themes.
Really? That's kind
Everything
of ironic.
else is everything else is very real. It's the Autobahn, it's trains, and they sound futuristic, but this is the first time the lyrics are actually futuristic.
That's interesting. Great fucking song. The intro to Metropolis, I'm gonna put on the intro
good.
because this is if this doesn't convince you of Kraftwerk, then maybe it's not for you, because I love this. I love that it goes back there. I love that it goes back there. Oh, this is gorgeous.
Also, we're still in the 70s. This is crazy fucking music to make for the 70s.
Let alone to be popular.
Yeah, this is before like synth and new wave and all that shit. This
Way
is
before. God damn, it's such a great intro. And I will say that the model is really the only pop song, which it qualifies as a pop song. It's very much got a verse and chorus. It got regular sung vocals, catchy melody to it. Very much a pop song. The rest, though, like the title track, easily one of the best songs. It's fucking so damn good. I don't know. It's short, so the minute it's over, I just want to put it on again. The synths, I feel like, along with a lot of their stuff, they have aged like cheese, which means it smells like shit, but there's still a lot of people who are into it. There's like, and I'm one of those people.
I disagree. I don't think like bands like Depeche Mode or Aha or really any stereotypical 80s band would sound the way they did.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
If this album didn't exist,
no way.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah. So, like to reference a previous point, it's like they took Showroom Dummies from the last album and made a whole album out of that approach. That's what this is, and I love that.
Made it more pop, pop sensibility.
Yeah, for sure. And it works perfectly for me. I would say this is like the place to start, because it's kind of where I started for me, and it made me a fan, and it made me want more. And this is the album that I fought with an ex-girlfriend in the past over, because she refused to listen to the melody. I actually fought with her over Yellow Magic Orchestra as well. It's like, clearly we were not compatible. Clearly. But
like ruining relationships over bands since
I stand by my decision.
His birth.
I will choose Kraftwerk over a girl any day. But yeah, best album, personal favorite for me. And I think it's widely considered that by a lot as well. So
we got a few more albums to do. So
we're not done. This is a big episode. I hope you're strapped in. This is 1981. Of course, I didn't pull it up because I'm a jackass. Once again, this is Computer World.
This song and Pocket Calculator are their most beep boop
real
robotic sounding songs to me.
Oh, extremely old computer beep boops. Yeah.
I mean, it's called Computer World, so
that's true. Yeah, this is a good song. However, the vocals are still a little questionable.
Yeah, it's gonna get me every time, no matter how good the song is.
Yeah. It's funny because as much as I enjoy that, I do see how it would turn a lot of people off.
So this is my personal favorite. I think this is the most consistent, the most fun to listen to.
I disagree. I like
Of
it.
course you do, because you just blew your load on the other album. But
The thing is, I think it's a great album, but it's like the second half is so fucking amazing that it not only dwarfs the first half, but I legitimately don't care for Pocket Calculator or Computer World 2. Legitimately don't care for those ones. Numbers, I think, go on.
I will admit those two songs are probably the weakest two songs on the album.
I think that, like, even Numbers, which I think is the most dated. I think it's the most beep boop I think ever.
I love it. I don't
hate it.
Numbers so much.
I don't hate it. I think it's the least musical track on the album for sure. But that one and the Pocket Calculator and Computer World 2, the reason why it's a deal breaker for me is because they're at the fucking beginning. Like I've said this, I haven't said this in a while, but in previous episodes I've said, even if an album has great songs on it, if you're leading with the songs that are weaker, it takes away the experience because I'm not invested. You lose my interest at the beginning and I have to wait to get to the good stuff. And the second half is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So obviously I like the title track. I think it's good. Yeah. I love
the title track is cool, but Computer World 2 is the one I have a problem with.
Oh yeah. I love that Numbers, they said let's turn this into a song, and they fucking did it successfully. It's
over the top with vocoders.
A wild concept, a wild melody, if you want to call it that. So it's great. And then you get to Computer Love, which is the one Coldplay sampled.
It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. Actually, I'm going to put that on real quick.
Yeah. So Coldplay tricked a bunch of normal people into liking Kraftwerk.
You know what? I don't like Coldplay, but God bless them. Here we go.
And that's the melody for their song "The Talk."
Kraftwerk did it better, even though technically the vocals can be argued otherwise.
I found the interview where Chris Martin said he's like, it's crazy. They had because they're so hard to get a hold of. They had a whole legal team on it, sending these elaborate letters, the label and Coldplay's people, these things. Can we use the song? And they just got a piece of paper, handwritten. It just said yes on it and nothing else.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's man, that's so charming. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's pretty charming. They seem like you said recluses and strange guys, but they seem kind of sweet based on the nothing I know about them. It's just a feeling.
I think that this came up with a very smart way to achieve longevity, maybe unintentionally, because sometimes with bands who play physical acoustic instruments, they don't sound as good when they're older. But Kraftwerk sounds the same in their 30s as when they're in their 60s because of all the vocoder, and they're so smart and figured out a way to keep a private life while being wildly successful.
That's really impressive. Another thing about go ahead.
I was going to say, and then the other track I want to talk about before I love Home Computer. I love how sinister it is.
It's just what I was going to say. I was going to say that the final two tracks were real dark, real dark.
It's almost in juxtaposition to the rest of the album because it's for the most part poppy and happy, and then you get to those two, you're like, fuck.
Actually, I have a timestamp for Home Computer.
Hell yeah. Thank God you do. It's
at a minute 35. The sounds in this song are so good. It's funny because this is a very spacey band, and we've used the term spacey in a very different context. Here, I mean outer space. They sound like they're from outer space. So this is a good example of that. I I had it and then I just lost it. Here we go.
So good.
I fucking love this. That's so damn good.
Yeah, I don't know what those sounds are, but I love them.
Oh yeah. What a great. Oh, this is a good song. Yeah, that's a good fucking song. Yeah, and then of course the last track, "It's More Fun to Compute," awesome as well. It's a real good album. It's just those songs are deal breakers for me.
Shout out to Cameron. I get computers puting. He probably loves Kraftwerk. He's like those motherfuckers get computers puting.
No one putes better.
No one putes better than Kraftwerk.
So this is Alex's personal favorite. Highly regarded for a reason. Although I will stand by that second half a lot more than the first half. But let us move on regardless. This is 1986. Oh, fucking little bit of a gap here. 5 years. So original title is Technopop, and that's the version you'll find everywhere streaming pretty much. But when it was originally released, it was called Electric Cafe against the band's wishes, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then the reissues, they corrected that. So
we're at Technopop.
I would do Technopop, aka Electric Cafe.
There we go. Here we go.
Boing, boom, jack. Boing, boom, jack. Boing.
Without even listening to this, just pulling it up, I laughed so hard. I'm like, it's called Boing Boom Chuck.
And that's what it's, yeah. And that's exactly what you're hearing.
I was kind of scared to listen to this one because you don't really hear people talk about it.
No, you do not. This is fucking ridiculous.
I like it for some reason.
That's pretty cool.
It sounds more slick than anything they've ever done, and that probably has to do with, as time goes on, you know, the way you can make music and electronics is always changing. So
also this is right up in there in 86, so we've had electronic music for a minute.
Yeah. So they were concerned this wasn't as groundbreaking as the previous albums, which they were right to do.
Correct.
They put out the single Tour de France in 1984. It was supposed to be on the album, but they were like, so much time has passed. Fuck it, it's just a single. It's not on there. I think this caught a bad rep when it came out, but I think it's kind of endearing and kind of underrated.
I didn't hate it so much when I first heard it, and then the more I listened to it, the more I did not like this shit.
Damn.
And it's not that I don't think it's bad. I do think it is exactly the kind of album that I don't like. And that is because the main gimmick here is they're sampling voices. Like we heard in Boing Boom Chuck, they are sampling the shit out of, and it's all over the place. And I want to put on the one that annoys me the absolute most. And
is it Sex Object?
No, but we'll get there. If you don't know the name of the song by immediately, then I don't know what to tell you.
Wait, you don't like this? Wait. I'm going to let this song play, then we're going to
get into it. Yeah.
First of all,
Non-stop.
That.
Music.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
I wonder what the name of this song is. Okay. It is the sample of music non-stop over and over and over again. That makes me want to fucking blow my brains out.
It works for me. And then those other like weird vocals, I don't know how to describe them, except if you've seen the movie Akira, they have vocal melodies in that score that are similar to this.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. That's a good fucking movie.
Yeah, I'll send you the track I'm talking about when we're done here. But I was listening to it. I wasn't sure how to feel, and then this keeps going. I'm like, okay, I like this. And I read that they would pretty much since 1991 until whenever their last concert was, this was like their closer.
Oh, really?
But not this version, the version that shows up on the remix album. And I was like, oh shit, is that a better song? I do not think it's a better song. I think
this version.
Yes, this version I like more. There's not huge differences, but yeah, I just like the way all these weird sounds come together. And for me, it's one of my favorite Kraftwerk songs, surprisingly.
That is it's not the music that are the problem, is the sample. And
it's the sample.
It's the sample, and it's a recurring thing in this whole album where they just use these voices, and it sounds like if you have like a fucking Casio keyboard and they have the fake voices and they're just hitting them in rhythm. That's what it sounds like.
They do sound more like a DJ now than they do a band of social outcasts.
For sure, which is surprisingly the two different things. But I do like the telephone call a lot.
Phone Call is really fun, and again, great melodies on that track.
It also the beat of it continues into House Phone, which is a thing that they've done for many albums. But that one is a lot more rhythmic, experimental. I think they're both very cool. The one thing I do like about this album is that it's back to being rhythm heavy. It's not just a straight beat like the past few albums. A lot of polyrhythms stuff going on. But then we get to Sex Object. So
I got a time stamp for that because I don't like it. If you go to the 3:40 mark,
already the bass
is fucking hilarious.
I know it is, and that's because, well, if you're a fan of sitcoms, I think you'll recognize the bass. I think immediately.
It is a fucking Seinfeld bass.
It's the Seinfeld bass. Here we go.
Oh, shit. I was so upset at that Seinfeld bass. I messed up my phone right now. Why? That only belongs on Seinfeld and nothing else. No other form of music. Okay.
And then I almost did a Jerry Seinfeld impression in a German accent, but that sounds. I don't think I can even do that. It sounds very difficult.
Yeah. Another jarring thing about that is there's like a string section. And I'm just like, no, it doesn't work for you guys. Maybe on a different song, but the string section, it's just
this song. We're completely glossing over the lyrics to this song.
Oh yeah.
Hilarious. Dude, I hope they're on the lyrics. Okay, I'm gonna read you some of the lyrics. All right. Yes, no. Yes, no. I don't want to be your sex object. Show some feeling and respect. I don't want to be your sex object. I've had enough, and that's a fact.
We all know nobody in Kraftwerk was anybody's sex object ever.
They're barely objects. I don't even. How the fuck?
They're not people, so
they're barely. Yeah, it's funny how you put you. I didn't even see this until right now. I had the same 340 timestamp as well in my notes. I just saw it right now. It's what a song, and like I want people to hear it. I want people to hear it just for the fucking novelty and how hilarious it is.
Just have a good time.
Yeah, but also the songs are back to being super long. I thought they were ever short, but they took a backseat in terms of the crazy longness. But
and then I don't know if the title track recycles or if it just sounds similar to Trans Europe Express, but if it's not recycled, it's definitely real similar and kind of of weak.
Yeah.
Because
it's kind
we
of
we heard 20 minutes of that riff before. I believe at this point, had it been sampled by Africa Bambaataa? I'm not sure, but yeah, not really necessary to bring that back.
Yeah, this is it's not the worst, but it is definitely a rough one. And it's mostly because of the fucking the voice samples. Like I mean, Sex Object there's no way you can redeem that fucking song. But
No. I had more fun with this album than I thought I would going in. So I think it catches a bad rap, but I think it's aged way better than people give it credit for.
Fair enough. All right, we are finally at the last album. Huh?
So, real quick.
Yeah.
Where they go on not even a hiatus, but very rarely playing live. They came out with the remix album in 91. And then I feel like their big return was in 98, where they did world tours. Like, they came to the US and Japan for the first time since 1981.
Whoa.
So, yeah, what is that? 10? Yeah, like 50. No.
Almost 20 years.
I'm awful on that. Yeah, almost 20 years.
Yeah, 17 years, something like that.
To maintain that popularity without coming to the US for 20 years is fucking crazy. So yeah, they never like broke up, do random shows, and then that gets us into 2003.
Here it is, Tour de France or Tour de France soundtracks, whichever. Here we go.
If I never hear this fucking song again, I'd be so happy.
I feel like I'm in an Audi commercial.
It's real dated. It's real at home with like PS2 level shit.
Yeah.
Did you put on the intro or number one?
I put the intro.
Okay.
This is the song.
Yeah, I bought up that they put out the single in 84 and then they reworked it for this album. But it's not even that different. It's crazy they put out this song in 84 because it very much sounds
early 2000s.
Like yeah, very much so. It's pretty wild that it came out in 84.
Yeah.
I still hate it though.
Well, it's funny that you hate it because this song goes on for a while.
That's why I hate it.
It goes on for so long.
Conceptually, I get it. They're trying to replicate the endurance that is the Tour de France.
So I hope you're all familiar with that little thing because it goes on for like 3 more tracks.
It's like half the album. So it's Tour de France Etape 1 through 3 and Chrono are basically that same thing.
So that's about,
and like I said,
4, well, including the intro, that's 5 tracks. It's rough.
So yeah, that really hurt it. It's their longest album.
Yep.
First album in a while to not there's only one version of it. They didn't do English and German. It's just the one version.
Well, the names are in French, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and this was put out for the 100th anniversary of the Tour de France.
What a gift.
And again, it returns to the more natural themes. There's nothing sci-fi here. It is, again, a very Kraftwerk thing to do. Let's make an album about a long travel thing.
I'm assuming this is your least favorite by process of elimination.
Yes, this is my least favorite.
Yeah.
I can't even say, and I do that because I can't say that it's musically busted.
It's not busted because, and I will only say that because Vitamin is fucking awesome, and I actually do like La Forme.
I love Vitamin because it's not Tour de France.
It does come right after. Anything after is kind of better.
I was like, hell yeah, I'm free. I'm free at last when Vitamin comes on. And there's noises on there that sound like they belong in a Sonic the Hedgehog video game, specifically Emerald Hills. So
You know what?
shout out to Vitamin.
We're going to put on a little tad bit of Vitamin. Because I think that first, the title track is pretty like...
There it is.
Yeah, that actually does. That sounds exactly like it.
That's
Holy shit.
fucking Sonic noise.
I thought it got the album because of that first song went on for so fucking long. And then this comes on. I'm like, oh, this is fucking great. This sounds like Kraftwerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great song. But
that song wouldn't even be that bad if they just fucking called it a day around 8 or 9 minutes, though.
It's so funny when we're like, just make it 9 minutes, just please, for us.
You've broken me down to 9 minutes.
Begging for only 10 minutes. And that's what I'll say is like, aside from that track and maybe La Forme, this doesn't really sound like Kraftwerk. It's techno as fuck. It's techno-y, dancey, and fast.
Another genre they helped create the I don't know how many people that know this, but techno was like created by three black dudes in Detroit, and they love the shit out of Kraftwerk.
Wait, who?
I forget their names.
But
they're so synonymous with techno, though.
Oh, okay. I know so little about the genre of that. Yeah.
But and they loved Kraftwerk so much. So to me, it kind of makes sense that it sounds like techno because it is yet another genre they helped give birth to. It's
one of the more obvious ones that they gave birth to, yet they never sounded that way until now.
Yeah.
Which is odd to me. Because like that really dancey, fast-paced stuff is, first of all, I fucking hate it. Like generally.
It's real dated. And not in like an endearing way.
But also, so like all the musicality that they've always had is replaced by danciness. And I don't like dancing. I don't like danciness for the most part. And if you're replacing musicality with danciness, I fucking hate you. There's nothing about that I enjoy. I don't listen to music to dance. As millions and gajillions of people do. Good for them, not me.
I don't dance, but I don't have a problem with dancey stuff if it's good.
That's what I'm saying. Like abandoning musicality in favor of danciness is what I have a problem with.
So yeah, Vitamin was nice. I thought maybe I was out of the woods, but then Aerodynamic and Titanium, I'm like, these are exhausting again.
They are.
And again, I get it. They're trying to fucking replicate, what the Tour de France sounds like. There's even bicycle noises. There's people breathing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people breathing on this one.
I think Electrocardiogram would be stronger on a different album. But because it's on here, I feel like it gets lost in the shuffle and you're so like beaten down and exhausted that it's like, I don't care.
I was mentioning La Forme a couple times. I like it, but it's also like just under 9 minutes. And with that, like it's just everything on here is just too long. Everything is so much longer than it needs to be. And that's the thing with like, if you're using endurance as a concept for music, do you want people to like your music? I don't understand. Those are like conflicting things almost. Like Tour de France is a grueling competition where you're pushing yourself. I don't want to be exhausted by the end of an album. That's not fun.
Agreed. And then the last track, which is plainly called Tour de France.
Yeah.
I was scared I was going to be thrown back into the pits of hell. Thankfully,
it's not bad.
It's a different song. Yeah, it's a different song. But at that point, I was just thankful that it wasn't the other three.
Yeah. There's some cool sounds for sure. There's some cool, as it is, and a couple decent songs too. But like, this is not their least musical albums by any means, especially considering the.
Oh no,
stuff.
That's why I gave it least favorite,
Yeah.
because I can't say that, oh, this is shitty.
Yeah. And the simple fact that it has like 3 songs that I legitimately enjoy, or 2.5 songs that I legitimately enjoy, like I can't shit on it. Like, these are good. There's still some good. Like they were still making good shit even in their old. Well, they weren't that old by this point, but yeah. And that's why it ended up being easy for me to give Kraftwerk 2 worse, because like that's the only one that I felt annoyed by the end of it, like pissed, like I don't want. What the fuck was I even for? This one I was like,
I felt annoyed by this. I am not listening to this ever again.
I won't either, but I actually might keep Vitamin on rotation. It's a good fucking song.
All right.
But yeah, aside from those, like, yeah, I mean, it's just I don't like techno. I don't like dancey stuff. I don't like the repetitive, fast-paced driving. And I literally mean driving in a car music, like music you'd hear in like a fucking like an Akira, like shit you would hear in Akira, in that cyberpunk style. It's like a very cyberpunk sounding album, which is a cool cultural artistic thing, not so much musically in my opinion.
The shit on here is right at home on the video game soundtrack Wipeout. It'd be perfect.
Not bad. Actually, no, I kind of see that. And also, it's too fucking long. But
too fucking long.
Yeah, we've gone on. We're at a 2-hour episode. It's appropriate.
Also, 9 out of 10 times, if you're a band giving us 30, 40-minute albums and you come out with anything over 55, we're just gonna hate it.
We're gonna get real mad. How dare you take our time like this, even though we decided to do this? But yeah, the beefy discography, appropriate now to give an overview, and I still really like them. It's despite all the frustration we had with the last album and a couple others.
But we did the damn thing.
We did the goddamn thing. So to recap, what you got?
Worse, Ralf and Florian. Best, Trans Europe Express. Personal favorite, Computer World. And then least favorite, Tour de France soundtrack. Even the recap is exhausting.
Yeah, so dude, you got a full house recap.
Full house.
I have as minimum as you can get, which is it's usually the opposite.
Nice.
It's usually the opposite. Kraftwerk 2, 1972, worst. Fuck, man. I will never listen to that one again. And The Man Machine, 1978, best personal favorite. I will repeatedly go back to that one. Good fucking band. I'm glad we did them. This is man, my voice is gone. I need
is it? Damn.
I'm also drinking whiskey. Maybe that didn't help.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. I'm gonna take a fat nap after this.
Hell yeah. So thank you so much for listening and watching. If you want to help us and you want to support us, for the love of God, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Tell a friend. Please tell a friend, or don't do that. If you want to suggest an artist for us to talk about, bicker about, or maybe even agree about, like we did a lot here. Wait, did we agree a lot here? Kinda. Not really.
There's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
I feel like we came together when it was important.
More or less. You can email your suggestions to everyalbumever@gmail.com. And if you want to listen to the Spotify playlist on Kraftwerk that we've put together, all of our favorite songs, who knows how fucking long it will be. Doesn't matter. You can find a link in the description of where you're listening and watching, as well as everyalbumever.com, where we got playlists associated with every single episode. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can do that at Pope Jesse Ventura, and you can find all my music bullshit at Pander Monkey. And Alex?
At Mother Puncture.
All right, who's getting last song?
I don't know. I feel like you liked them more going into it. So
all right, I think you're right, and I already have in mind what I want to put on, and we are going to do The Man Machine from The Man Machine.
Not bad.
Hell
Not
yeah.
bad.
So thank you so much for listening and watching once again. See ya.